Hello, dear friends. So with this video, we'll start our Python lessons, and we'll first try to learn the concept of variables in Python. I know you can do it, so let's start. So variables are nothing but reserved memory locations to store values. So it means that when we create a variable, we reserve some space in memory. So based on the data type of a variable, the interpreter allocates memory and decides what can be stored in the reserved memory. Now, unlike other programming languages, Python has no command for declaring a variable. So a variable is created the moment we first assign a value to it. The operand to the left of the equal operator is the name of the variable, and the operand to the right of the equal operator is the value stored in the variable. Let's do a few examples. Create a variable named a, but give it a value, like 10. So here, a is the name of the variable, and 10 is the value of the variable. All right, cool. So let's create another variable named name and give it a value like John. Or create another variable named miles and give it a value like 130.7. And let's create another variable named city name and give it a value like London. All right, so what did you see here? A variable can have a short name like X and Y, or a more descriptive name like age, car name, or total volume. But more importantly, when we create a variable, there are some basic rules that we must follow when we name this variable. So variable name must start with a letter or the underscore character. A variable name cannot start with a number. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. Variable names are case sensitive. Age is not age, and age. These are three different variables. Now, variable name can't be a keyword defined in Python. For, while, elif, if. So let's talk about data types. The data stored in memory can be of many types. For example, a person's age is stored as a numeric value, and his or her address is stored as alphanumeric characters. That makes sense, right? So Python has various standard data types that are used to define the operations possible on them and the storage method for each of them. So Python has 5 standard data types: numbers, strings, lists, tuples, and dictionaries. We're going to learn all of these in our next lessons, one by one. All right, well, how do we learn the data type of a variable? With the help of the type function in Python, we can learn the data types of variables. So let's learn the data types of the variables we just created. Type A, and learn the data type of variable A. And the result is integer. Now, because variable A takes a numeric value, the result is an integer. So let's check some of the others. Type name. The variable name contains an alphanumeric value, so the result is a string. Type miles. The result is float. Type city name. And the result is string. The Python print statement is often used to output variables. Here, print is the command, and the variable we write in parentheses is the output to the screen. For example, print 45, print 3,14, print John Doe, print Python. To combine both text and a variable, Python uses the plus character. Print 5 plus 9. The result is 14. Print John plus Doe. The result is John Doe. We can also use the plus character to add a variable to another variable. Create a variable named first value and give it a value, like 33. Create another variable named second value and give it a value, like 93. Print first value plus second value, and the result is 126. Now, if we try to combine a string and a number, Python will give us an error. For example, print John plus 21. So when we run this process, Python returns an error called type error. And what that means is we can only concatenate some data types like string to string or integer to integer. So in programming, it's very important to get input from the user. Now in Python, there is an input function that allows us to get that input from the user. The input function can be used as follows. When we type input and run, Python expects us to enter a value, like 25 or David. When we enter the value and press enter, it prints the value we entered on the screen. We can also write a value into the function, like input, please enter a number. Or input, please enter your birthplace. So the value we get from the user can be obtained through the input function as follows. We can create a variable named A and type input, please enter a number. Print user entered value A. So let's find out what the data type of the variable A is. And as you can see, the variable A is string. So in this section, we've learned the logic of variables in Python, how to define variables, and how to use print and input as functions. So now we're going to make a simple example using what we've learned. So let's create a variable named name and ask for the value to be entered by the user. In the same way, we create a variable named last name and then ask the user to enter the value again. Now let's print the values entered by the user. And the result is right there in front of you. So we can also put a space in between to make it more, aesthetically pleasing and readable. Let's start it now. Yeah, see, so that looks better. So I do want to see you in the next lesson, and we'll build from what we've learned. Until then, have a nice day.